Hey, welcome back to the Ping Pong Flick Show. My name is Chris Wong. The DCEU is alive and well. It may not be called World of DC as all these. It's very complicated. I mean, the on the banners and everything, it was shown at the San Diego Comic Con Hall H. It says "Welcome to the World of DC." So everybody went out of their way and just said it's called World of DC. It could be, who knows? But they haven't actually come out and said that it's called Worlds of DC. I think they're just welcoming you to the world of DC. They don't actually have a name for it, but lots of people, including Aisha Tyler and Zachary Levi, have all been calling it DCEU. Pretty much the fandom kind of gave it that name. Out of someone, was it Entertainment Weekly? I forgot. It was an article where someone just spewed it out. It's called, what is it called? The DCEU, and everybody just took off with it. It rolls right off better, off the tongue better, and I'm still gonna call it that. It's just it's intuitive. I mean, I really just spit that out. So DCEU is definitely alive and well. But I want to talk about what I've been hearing. For the most part, where the bloggers and stuff, they're coming out and saying this is a change in tone, this is a new direction. And yeah, I mean, it is in a way a different direction from the slates from before, but if you really think about it, is it really totally different from the way before, or is it a gradual evolution from the way it was before? And if you remember, from Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, where the heroes, he tells everybody that one day, he tells Henry Cavill, Clark Kent, or Kal-El, that his one day they'll all join you in the sun, join you in the light. So essentially that's what's happening here. Man of Steel came out, all these heroes start to pop out of everywhere. Suicide Squad was in response to Man of Steel, in response to Superman, and now we're going to get all these heroes coming out after Justice League. And essentially, yeah, we didn't get the 5-film arc that Zack Snyder originally wanted to do. It has been accelerated into Justice League. They've accelerated in a way, and now we're getting into Aquaman. We're getting into Shazam. We're getting into Wonder Woman, and that's the movies that are coming out. And if you really think about it, just really, really think about it, that is the gradual, how the change of tone. Out of the darkness comes the dawn, and out of the darkness comes out these heroes who are the light of the dark. I mean, that's how the progression was made. Yes, it was a different slate, but I had the inkling that Zack Snyder had intended it to be that way later on, for other directors to pick off from his arc, from his storyline, to make their own films. Rick Famuyiwa was going to do Flash. Patty Jenkins was doing Wonder Woman, and of course James Wan was doing Aquaman. And James Wan has been talking with Zack Snyder. In fact, he asked him for a favor if he could be the one to introduce Atlantis to the general audience through the eyes of Aquaman. Let him do that. And we did get a snippet of it in Justice League, and I don't know how much was in the Snyder Cut. I know Vocal was in this possible Snyder Cut, but it sounds like Zack Snyder decided to take that out and let James Wan handle that, according to James Wan. And so when we see Aquaman, we'll get to see James Wan's version of Atlantis from the get-go through the eyes of Jason Momoa as he's coming into Atlantis. And that's great. That's awesome. I can see that they've really talked to each other, and that's a great thing. That shows a little bit of respect here from Zack Snyder, and respect from James Wan as well. And so we'll see how much we maybe get parts of Vocal and what was intended in Snyder Cut, but I don't think so. I think this is definitely going to be a James Wan's movie, and I think that's a great thing. It's a stepping off point from what Zack Snyder had done, but in a way, you can almost call it's still part of the Snyderverse, because it's actually connecting off from that. More so when you watch Shazam. In the Shazam Shazam trailer, there's so many Easter eggs, and David F. Sandberg have pulled out all these different articles that really talk about the Batman v Superman, Wonder Woman, or they call it Amazon Woman, and Batman assists Superman in fighting, Doomsday, a creature, Lex Luthor's creature, and then he talks about, of course, the Man of Steel events and things like that. So it's a lot of different homage, a lot of different things saying that that world did happen, that absolutely did happen, even more so than what Joss Whedon had portrayed it. It's really on the nose, these type of homages and Easter eggs, really on the nose. And David F. Sandberg really seems to appreciate Zack Snyder's work. He even threw in some Watchmen, little Watchmen happy face, smiling faces with some blood on it on the table, and that's awesome as well. You can really see that and part of that, and it's kind of cool to have them feel like Zack should be his little. I know his spirit is still part of the movies, even though the movies don't really look and feel like his movies, because those are Zack Snyder movies. But now we're getting David F. Sandberg's movie, we're getting James Wan's movie, we're also getting Patty Jenkins' movie, and apparently the next movie out is possibly going to be Birds of Prey, as they got their California tax credit, and looking like they're going to shoot pretty soon, 2 months after Once Upon a Time, shooting that. Once after that's done, they're probably getting ready to shoot that. So Birds of Prey might actually be the movie that comes out after Wonder Woman. We're also getting a little bit of news about Ava DuVernay. It seems like she's got her Mr. Miracle. So Logan Marshall Green was the actor in Prometheus. He was also in quite a bit of other films, and also recently Upgrade. So it looks like he says this. He went on Twitter. He says, "I'm officially an unemployed actor, and I've already had my 15 minutes in the MCU. So I'm starting my own shameless campaign to play my favorite hero in the DCEU, Mr. Miracle at Ava." And she just go ahead and gave him a wink, showing a little gif of himself. So I don't know. I think she's really looking at him as to be. And when you look at his face, he kind of does. Once put some yellow on and everything, he'll kind of look like Mr. Miracle, almost look like Vision in a way, DC's own Vision, even though Vision's a robot and stuff. But I think it could work, and it's pretty interesting that's coming out now. I don't know if she's done with her writing and her scripting, not sure, but just to see that she's actually responding now to different people, responding to the New Gods. Anything about the New Gods is quite exciting. So because right now on the slate, what we got Aquaman, Shazam, Wonder Woman, 1984, then Birds of Prey, then the Joker movie, which is actually not part of the DCEU. It's called DC Black or something. And so like they already casted Joker's mom in there and things like that. So very, very interesting time indeed. I'm not sure which part of this universe is New Gods, if New Gods is part of the DCEU or outside the realm as well. So that'd be quite something to see, something to look forward to, and we're gonna learn a little bit more out of that. But in any case, the DCEU is still alive and well. There is a lot of things coming out, a lot of things going on, and not much time for me to talk about it. But I will continue as more things start to pop out from San Diego Comic-Con, and hopefully we get a little bit more news later on about other movies that we are waiting to see, which is like The Batman and Man of Steel 2. I'm thinking they're going to wait until Man of Steel 2, possibly, like I said on David Film Junkies podcast, that Henry Cavill's rep is probably waiting to use Mission Impossible 6 to leverage his contract, seeing as it seems like his arm reloading skills is going to earn him a lot of good credit from Mission Impossible, and possibly a lot of good reviews, and possibly a lot of money. So using that as leverage, you can probably leverage for a better pay grade possibly for doing the next Superman film. I'm expecting that. I'm thinking that's what we're all waiting for, and hopefully that I'm right about that. And on to the Snyder Cut news. Seems like there's going to be another movement. There's going to be another next phase involved. Fiona is evolving, is going to come up with something pretty soon, so be on the lookout for that. That's exciting. I can't wait to be part of that. I can't wait to see what's the next phase in the movement. I know Comic Movie Marks had talked about writing letters and sending a snail mail this time to Warner Brothers. I kind of like that idea. If we're going to do that, I will probably print out one with my own Ping Pong Flicks letterhead, sign it, and say, release the Snyder Cut. I would definitely do that if I can get those addresses down and who we should write it to. Possibly everybody. Toby Emmerich, Kevin Tsujihara, Walter Hamada, all those guys. Write it to them all. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? Who knows who's going to read it? But physical mail, that I like the idea of that, because now everybody's going into emails and Twitter. Not many people are going to get snail mail. So I think that might be a pretty good impact if they're not already doing something about it. I know recently Zack Snyder has been liking a lot more posts regarding the Snyder Cut, and I think that's great that he shows a certain support for that, and I think with that in mind, we should continue fighting for that. We should continue arguing and continuing to blast in a politely positive way towards Warner Brothers that there are still fans that we have not given up. We still want the Snyder Cut, and we still want to finish Zack Snyder's approved vision, and so we can actually move on to the rest of the DCEU. So hopefully something comes out with that. So anyway, that's it for today. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.